Hey everyone, and happy Wednesday. So today is our third and last day of medical terminology. I know at this point you are probably getting really tired of this system of Dean Vaughn medical terminology, but it is important that you have a good understanding of a broad spectrum of terms and a good basis to help you start to understand some of those really big medical terms that you're going to be seeing later on in this course and even into Health Science 1 and Health Science 2. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Lesson 3, Part 1. You know how this works at this point. I give you a word and then an image that associates to that word, and then we twist that image around to somehow make it fit into your brain what it means. So first we have cost, which we have a picture of a roller coaster, cost, coaster. And then all of the little people who are raising their hands into the air have turned into ribs. Cost, coaster, ribs. Next, we have gram. Gram makes me think of a graham cracker. And now you can see the shape of the graham cracker has changed into a record, like what you would see on a record player. Graham cracker, record. Next, we have acro. We see an acrobat here. And then in the next image, their arms and legs got really long. Acro, acrobat, extremities. Extremities is another word for your arms and your legs. Extremities. Next, we have rexis. Rexis sounds like Rex, like two cars collided into a wreck. Rexis, Rex, means to break or burst. So if you were to get into a wreck, things would be breaking or bursting. Rexis, wreck, break or burst. Next, we have Carson. Carson, we have an image of a car with a sign on it, car sign. And then that sign has turned into canned cereal, and it means cancer. Carson, car sign, canned cereal, cancer. For me, this one is kind of a stretch. I like to just remember Carson like a carcinoma, which is a type of cancer. Maybe that's just my teacher brain, but I like to remember that way. Carson means cancer. Next, we have pinia. Pinia, imagine an ink pen, and all of the ink flows out of it. It has decreased in ink. Pinia, pen, decrease. Next, we have Genesis. Genesis is the original book or first book of the Bible. Genesis, original production, original or production. So I like to think of it as Genesis. Genesis is the original book of the Bible, original or production. Verso, I don't know why my verso is not bolded right there. Verso, we have an image of a lady sewing a purse, sew, and it turns into a sack. Okay, verso, sew a purse, or purse sew, sack. Verso means sack. Now don't get verso and cyst confused. You learned cyst the other day, and cyst is a sac containing fluid, while a verso is just a sac, does not have fluid in it. Next is retro. Retro means retreat, and to retreat means to literally go backwards or for something to be behind something else. Retro, retreat, backwards. That one should be pretty easy. Now this one is a real stretch. Trip, you're going on a trip and you can't fit everything in your trunk, so it causes rubbing or friction. Trip, rub or friction. I like to think of this one as if you were to trip and you scraped your knee, you would have rubbed it, or it would have caused friction when you scraped it. Next is strepped. Here we can see an image of a lady's purse strap. Strepped, strap. And it simply means to twist. So think of when you have strep throat and it kind of feels like twisted up and you can't talk and itchy and scratchy. Strep, strap, and her purse strap is twisted. Twist. Next is desis. Desis sounds very similar to thesis, and a thesis is a really large document or paper that you have to write, typically your senior year of college in some cases, and it needs to be held together by something. So desis makes me think of thesis, and your thesis needs to be bound together or binding. Desis, thesis, binding. Okay, that brings us to the end of part 1. I'm going to move this out of the way. So let's review. Cost means rib, and it's a root word because it's a body part. Gram means record or record, and it is, oh, I actually have that one wrong. Can I change it on here? I can't. Okay, I will change it on the slides after this, but gram means it's a suffix. It comes at the end of a word, and it means to record something, like an echocardiogram. You are recording the sound of the heart. Okay, I will go in and fix that one. Gram is a suffix. Acro means extremities, and it's a root word because we're talking about body part, your arms and your legs. Rhexis, to break or burst, is a suffix because it's an action. You are breaking or bursting something. Carcin means cancer, and it is a root word because cancer, once you have it, is a part of the body. So cancer is a root word. I actually had to look this one up just to make sure because I wanted to say it was a prefix because you have a cancer in a specific place of the body, but everything I have found says that cancer is considered a root word. Penia means to decrease, and this is a suffix because it's an action. Gen, original or production, is a suffix because it's an action. You are generating something, you are producing something. A burso or a sac is a root word because it is a part of the body. Retro, backwards, is actually a prefix. And the reason it's a prefix is because typically retro is describing a specific area of something. So it might say retroperitonesis, and it's at the beginning of the word describing where something is located. Trip means rubber friction, and it is a suffix because it's an action. Strep means twist, and this is another one that people would say is an action. So they would say it's a suffix, but really strep is a prefix because it is giving the specific appearance of something. Something appears twisted, like streptococcal pneumonia means that virus is in a twisted shape. And then desis means binding, which is a suffix because it's an action. So the ones you really need to pay attention to here are gram is a suffix because I messed up and I need to change it. I don't think it'll let me. Yeah, it won't let me change it on here. And then retro and strept are both prefixes because they are describing something more specifically. Okay, let's move on. Here's where you could stop the video if you'd like. Go back and rewatch the first half. And again, if you click here, which I will be posting these, it will take you directly to the link for the Medical Terminology Lesson 3 Part 1 flashcards. Being a little slow today. That's okay. There you go. Okay. So we're going to go back to this. So let's start Part 2. Now, you're so close to being finished because Part 2 is the last part of this, and then you do not have to learn any more medical terms this week. So we have Manny or Manie, which makes you think of a maniac. And then this one, they really added a thing that I feel like is unnecessary. They said the maniac is reading Mad Magazine, but I think we all kind of know that a maniac is someone who is mad or makes you think of madness. So you can remember it however you want, but I just like to remember Manie means maniac and madness. Next is glosso. We have a glossy table here, and then on the next image, there's tongues appearing on top of the table. Glosso, glossy means tongue. Next, we have trophy, and here we can see a woman holding a trophy, and then it turns into a housing development, and it means development or in some cases nourishment. Trophy, trophy, housing development, development, or nourishment. I wish I had a better way for you to remember this one. I will give you an example. Typically, the way you'll hear this is actually not as trophy, but like atrophy, trophy, okay? So atrophy, A in front of trophy, means without something or lack of something. So lack of development or less development. Typically, if you were to like break your arm and your arm is put in a cast, you're not using those muscles in your arm for that period of time that you're in a cast. When you go to take that cast off, your arm is really skinny, very weak. It looks different. It feels weird. And that is because your muscles have atrophied. They have lost development while it has been in a cast. Atrophy. Okay. That's the most common way you'll hear this. You may also hear the opposite of that, which is hypertrophy. Hyper, we know, means above or more than, and trophy again means development. So if you go to the gym and you lift weights, you're working out, your muscles are getting larger and you're gaining muscle. That means you are hypertrophied. You have hypertrophied your muscles, meaning that you have gained more development. So hopefully by remembering what atrophy and hypertrophy mean, you will remember that trophy means development. Next we have supra, and here we can see a bowl of soup, and then all of a sudden it's floating above it. Supra means above. Now you're probably wondering, why do we have two words that mean above, hyper and supra? Supra typically is describing the location of something on the body, meaning when we start talking about the bones and organs and things like that in Health Science 1, we will talk about some words that have supra in it, and it's a way to describe where something is located in the body. However, hyper is typically used to describe the levels of different things, like hypertension means you have high blood pressure, or hypertrophy, meaning you've gained muscle mass, or hypercholesteremia, meaning that you have high levels of cholesterol in the blood. So hyper is used more to describe levels of things, while supra is describing location of things. Ptosis, we have this sister with a really large toe, ptosis, toe cis, and because her toe is so large, she's falling over, ptosis, falling. Next, we have den. We can see a couple of people sitting here eating dinner next to a window pane, and then all of a sudden this guy busts through the window pane, and it means pain, because you would be in pain if you busted through a window pane, but you can also just remember window pane, pain. Den, pain. Okay, next we have mast. Mast, we see a boat here with the mast, the big tall thing pointing off the top. That is the mast of the boat. And in the next image, it is holding a breastplate, and it means breast. Mast, the mast of a boat, turns into a breastplate, breast. Next we have Raffy. Raffy makes us think of a raffle machine, like the thing that you would spin and it mixes everything up. And then we see a suit coming out of the raffle machine, and it means to suture something. Suture is like to sew up something. Raffy, raffle machine, suit, suture. Next we have dent. This one should be pretty easy because you all know what the dentist is, and the dentist is where you go to get your teeth cleaned. Dent, dentist, teeth. Next, we have cephal. Cephal, we have an image of a guy dropping a sieve. A sieve is that thing he's holding where you like sift flour and things like that. Cephal, the sieve is falling, and now his head is in the sieve, and it means head. Cephal means head. Next, we have auto. And they have a picture of an automobile here, but I really think the easiest way for you to remember this is to think of an autobiography. Auto means that you wrote it yourself. So auto means self. Autobiography, self. Next we have epi, and we have an image of a pea. And then in the next image, we have lots of little peas on top of that pea, or upon that pea. Epi means a pea upon. And then last, we have hydro, and that makes us think of a fire hydrant. And we know that what comes out of fire hydrants, you guessed it, water. So hydro, hydrant, water. Okay, and here is your wrap up for this one. Manny, madness, is a root word because madness is a part of you. Glosso, tongue, a root word because it's a body part. Trophy, development or nourishment, is a suffix because it is describing the condition of something. Supra, meaning above, is a prefix because it's telling you specifically where something is located. Ptosis, meaning falling, is a suffix because it's an action. Den means pain, and it's a suffix because it's describing the condition of something. Someone is in pain, something is in pain. Mast means breast, and it's a root word because it's a body part. Dent means teeth, and it's a root word because it's a body part. Cephal means head, and it's a root word because it's a body part. And I realized I just skipped Raphy. We'll go back to Raphy. Raphy means suture, and to suture something is a suffix because it's an action. And then skip down to auto. Auto means self, and it is a prefix because it is describing specifically something that's happening to you or that's causing something in your own body. Epi means upon, and it's a prefix because it's telling you specifically something is upon something else. And then hydro means water, which is a prefix because it's telling you specifically that there is water in something else or something like that. Okay? Little confusing, I know, but the more that you practice them, the better you'll get at this. And the main thing is that you know the meaning of each of these, and you'll get used to seeing what they look like in different terminology. So again, you can stop here, pause, and reflect, go back and re-watch the first half of this video, or you can click here, and it'll take you to your Medical Terminology Lesson 3 Part 2 flashcards, which will also be posted on Canvas. And that is it for our medical terminology unit. You will have some review tomorrow and a final assignment to see how much you really learned. And yeah, that is it, guys. Go ahead and study your flashcards, complete your assignments for today. And as always, feel free to text me or email me with any questions that you may have, and I will see you all later.